Salutations, comrades. True Seeking all be back with another one. And I hope all you good brothers are keeping well. But I got a decent video to drop today. I want to talk about some topics with you good brothers. And I had a situation at work actually, and it actually inspired me to make this video. And it got me down my rabbit hole and, to let my mind flow and just release some of these synchronicities which I'm seeing and some of the noticing which is occurring. And I'm very happy to talk about the fact that we're living in an unsustainable bubble in every sense of the word, from our food, electricity, our finances, our ability to survive, everything. It's all a bubble. It's all an illusion. And this is why I love summer for this reason, because I watch a lot of nature documentaries. I hate animals, right? I don't want cats and dogs and all that shit around me. So I hate animals, but I do enjoy watching nature documentaries, the wildlife, shall we say, whether it's the deep sea or the Amazon rainforest. And when it gets to summertime, especially in the last couple of years, I almost feel as though I'm on my David Attenborough type of shit. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm living my life in my own world. And as I'm walking around, as I'm going to and fro from here to there, right, I'm viewing the people, right, the quote unquote normies in their natural environment, and I'm studying them. And they are sickening me. And I don't know, maybe there's something in the air. Maybe it's just, just an odd day or an odd week, right? But they're sickening me more than ever. My patience is running very thin, right? I have gone into, and I'm sure some of you brothers are experiencing this as well, I've gone into my local supermarkets the past couple months, especially this year. Every fucking time I go into the store, something has gone up in price. Something has increased. Something I need. Something which I'm sure other customers would need as well. It's going up in price all the time. 5 pence, 10 pence. And it's starting to piss me off. Because I ain't getting no pay increases. I ain't getting no pay rises. So what's going on? Why are you lot increasing everything? And I don't want to hear the geopolitical answers and the socio-economic reasons. It's all bullshit. They're greedy. They're pigs, right? I'm sick of seeing people spending frivolously and buying shit. And I know they're broke, right? Every time it's summer, you see people shopping and walking around with big bags and buying all of these expensive clothes and getting new trainers and trying to dress for the summer and dress for the occasion. Meanwhile, I'm walking around in a t-shirt and some jogging pants and I'm very comfortable in. Why is everybody spending when they're broker than ever? It's very interesting. Another thing I hate about this time of the year is the fucking mate garden. Right, I'm sorry, mate. You're walking around with your girlfriend, right? With your boo thing, and she's wearing fucking leggings, yoga pants, right? And she got her cleavage on display. I'm sorry, brother. I got to look, and that lets me know that if we was in the wild, one of us is going to the gulag. Because I hate, and I'm putting this on record. I hate having to be polite. I hate having to do that awkward, telekinesis, that fucking Professor Xavier shit with these niggas. I'm sick of it, man. Every time I see one of these guys with their girls, you got to give them that awkward look for a second to, oh, I hope you're not looking at my girl, bro. And then you got to act like you're not looking. Now I don't give a fuck. Now I don't give a fuck. I'll just check her out. Like, mate, you're walking around with her like she's on display. You're walking around with her like you're selling her. In fact, I should come up to you and say, how much, brother? How much? They're 40 pounds, 50 pounds. How much are you selling? Hate this weather, man, for that reason, because everyone's trying to flex, man, and I hate that shit. I operate on a no flex zone, man. And all of this bullshit, all of these little synchronicities is just adding up to make me a bit fucking grumpy. I'm sorry, right? And it lets me know that our individualism and our perception of freedom is going to be our undoing. It's going to be our undoing, and I'm okay with this. Because we're all operating for our own self-interest, so it seems. If you take humanity is in general, especially your local surroundings. If you just zoomed out a bit, right, removed yourself from the situation, and let's just pretend you was a an extraterrestrial, right, species, and you could just observe humans, and you looked at them and watched them for a bit, you'd be like, what are they doing? You see them wake up on a Monday, right? Almost religious, right? You'll think, is this some religion? Like, yes, they worship money, right? They wake up on a Monday, you see them traveling, they disappear for like 8 to 10 hours, and then you see them again at 5 or 6 p.m. And then they go into their little huts, right? Their little prison cells, because this is all a prison, right? I've been to prison, so I'm letting you guys know. If you zoom out a bit and you externalize things, this is no different to a prison. The same way in jail, you know, they put you in your cell, you're fucking locked up for most of the day. You come out, you do your activities, and you go back to your fucking cell and you watch TV, and then you wake up and you do it all over again. This is the same way. And then maybe once or twice a week, you'll have some activities like the gym or football or some shit, right? So that you can feel some form of productivity, right? Some form of downtime, hobbies, etc., right? This even being out in having this so-called freedom is the same shit. So if they could look down and see us, they'd be like, what are you lot doing? You're not working towards no collective goal. You're not working towards no collective goodness. You view one another as if you're strangers. Are you not the same species? And that let me know, yes, great question. Are you not the same species? Because that made me ask myself a question. Because these are psychopumps. This is when I'm in my schizo mode and I start to overthink. And when I do overthink about these topics, it's a great thing. It's when I got to get this shit off my chest, because that's how I cope with it. This is my therapy. And they let me know. Factor in with all those documentaries that I've watched growing up, all those documentaries about, you know, animals. And it lets me know we're not bees, we're not ants, right? They have a hive mind. And that hive mind operates with an unwavering precision, where one wrong move is GG, bruh. One wrong move, right? If a bee comes back to the hive, right? I don't know if you lot have seen this, but there's bees, when bees are collecting pollen for the hive, obviously because pollen is sugar and it can ferment, especially if it's out in the sun under the right conditions and circumstances, it could become alcoholic. Very small levels of alcohol, but obviously for a bee it would be vast. And if these bees or wasps or any of these insects, if they come back to the hive drunk, bro, they get sent to the gulag. Like, the whole pack will start eating them, right? They'll get them out of here. Why is that though? It's because it's a threat to the species, a threat to the hive. And humans, we don't operate on this premise. Yes, we could send people who do things we don't like away for a while. But that's the height of it, essentially. But on a day-to-day, we are not working towards the collective good. We are not working with one another. We're actually competing with one another. Whether you're aware of it or not, and that's what the fucked up thing about it is, because once you start to see it and once you start to notice it in real time, there's no unlearning that shit, man, and it becomes a cancer in your mind. And how you deal with it is very important, and we're gonna get into some shit today. Right? Because what I see is that we are domesticated. At least bees and ants, they've got a goal in mind. They've got some dignity, some pride about themselves. But we're domesticated. We're civilized, if you prefer that term. And it's a disgusting illusion. It is. And I don't know, but for some reason, it got me thinking about the pandemic. Yes, it got me thinking about the pandemic, the lockdowns, right? And I'll be honest with you, brothers. I don't know how some of you feel, but I was the happiest I have ever been in my adult life when that fucking lockdown came. I swear to you. Because partially, right, I was happy to see what I believed was true. It let me know these people will follow anything. They cannot be trusted, right? I was happy when the lockdown came because everything was closed and I was like, oh, great. Now I could go for walks, I can have a beer, I could chill. I was at the most peace I've ever had. I didn't even have to work. Do you know how good that was? I thought this shit was finally over. I was like, yes. Because I've always been into government conspiracies and knowing that eventually, right? Eventually, they're gonna target us. They're gonna pull the plug on us. I've been thinking this for more than a decade and a half, 15 to 20 years practically. I've had these thoughts in my mind. So when that period came, right? I was so fucking happy, man. And these humans, right, and these people, they sickened me, man. And it was one of the greatest black pills I ever received. Because I saw people that I respected, men that I respected, taking the jib jab. I was like, what's going on? You guys talk a good game. You act like you're ready to go. You act like you're good for it. And then when it comes to a little flu, a little sniffles, all the propaganda on the TV and the mainstream media pushing out their garbage. Oh, let me go and take it because I need to keep my job. Oh, let me go and take it because I want to go on holiday. I didn't take that shit. You guys are weak. You guys are weak. You're pretending. You haven't made peace with your life. You haven't even made peace with your mortality. I couldn't wait. When I saw people sneezing and coughing, I'll go next to them. I'm trying to get some of that. What is it really getting people out of here? I was curious. Not saying that I'd end myself, but I was like, hey, if we're all gonna go eventually, let me just get it out of the way and get it done. Because apparently that at the time anyway, we were led to believe that was just going to take us all out. This is before we found out a lot of the truths about it, which I can't really talk about on here. But I was happy. I was like, oh yeah, let me get it over with. What a dick tease. What a dick tease, right? I saw families taking it, whole families, once, twice. They kept reapplying that poison into them. I was like, you lot are still getting sick. You're still getting the sniffles. You're still getting the flu. What did that really do to us? Time will tell. And there's some interesting rabbit holes that you can explore if you're interested in that. Because I don't know what they injected into you lot. I didn't take it because I don't want it. And I don't know what technologies that they develop, right? Or what technologies that we are unaware of that are in development, that whatever was in that can affect you in some way, shape or form. But there's some rabbit holes. If any of you are interested, I suggest you go look into that stuff on your own time, right? I also saw people hoarding resources. And I thought that was sickening. Because it happened to me. I got to see the short end of the stick on that. A couple times when I'm going to buy some meat and there's no meat. Why? Because these people with children, these normies, these people who think they're better than you, these people who are, following the status quo, when push comes to shove, right? When the rubber meets the road, they're only in it for themselves and they act nice, but really they don't care if you live or die, and they're competing with you in disguise with subterfuge. Do you know how many times I went to buy meat from my supermarket and they didn't have it? Right? And I had to eat tinned meat, or I had to go to the butchers and buy offcuts because they didn't have what I needed. There was a toilet paper shortage. Can you imagine? A toilet paper shortage. You couldn't even wipe your own ass. You had to start sticking your ass into the fucking bathroom so you could use the shower to fucking clean your shit. And I always recommend that you clean your ass with water and soap anyway, right? After you do a shit. I don't know how some of you motherfuckers could just use toilet paper. I wasn't raised like that, sorry. So no offense, but I weren't raised like that. And then you're walking around all day with shit in your ass, bruv, shit in your boxer shorts, scratching your bottom, getting worms and all that. Disgusting, bruv. But I always wash my ass. But I at least have to get, sorry to be graphic, but I at least have to get the chunks and the major remnants off with toilet paper, right? Have some decency. So imagine going into supermarkets and you can't even find fucking toilet paper. And that's why I said that this bubble, this thing we call life, this society is a joke. It's a joke. Everything's going up. Prices are increasing. Jobs are decreasing. AI is rendering human beings obsolete. And people are supporting it. People are using it. People are relying and depending on it. And that's exactly what they want. The likes of these fucking Zuckerbergs, these Peter Thiels, right? These people who we cannot even confirm if they're human or not. These people who are compromising politicians, right? We've seen it with Epstein, right? Epstein and friends, right? Compromising you, making you need them, controlling your world like pieces on a chessboard, just guiding you towards your own destruction like a moth to the flame. Oh yeah, you should do this. Look how easy and convenient this is. And that convenience is going to be the death of us. That's why I like to do things the hard way sometimes. That's why I enjoy it, because I'm like, listen, I'm training for something. Because I'm like, yo, when this shit hits the fan, right? When this shit hits the fan, I'm going to be ready to do what I have to do. And I hope and I wish that you brothers do the same thing. Because when I was at work, and this is what I wanted to bring up. When I was at work, right? I brought this up at the beginning. When I was at work, we had, a network issue, right? And with this network issue, we couldn't access anything. The phones were gone. The emails were gone, right? We can only communicate through our WhatsApp group. Oh yeah, the systems are down, which is great. Yeah, you could chill. You don't have to do any real work. You could get paid for it, whatever. But that had me thinking. And it all brought and culminated into this sort of rabbit hole, this cycle part where I'm just letting it all out now. Holy shit, bruv. COVID was a test run, boys. It was a test run. They've gathered, the governments and the elites of the world have gathered their data, right? They've gathered their information. And those of us who are aware, those like you and I who can see what's going on, right? Who are constantly aware of these people, look how they are. I saw fights in supermarkets, fist fights. Police having to be called because people are fighting over the last loaf of bread, the last carton of eggs. And I'm not saying that's going to happen everywhere. I'm sure there's other places where people are, could get along, or there's not that many people, so, things can work. But when you're in these major cities, these major hubs, bro, if shit goes left, we're going to be the first to turn into the zombie apocalypse. We're going to be the first to die, bro. We are going to be the first to go. When that electricity goes off, when that power goes off, right? When the police can't help you, what do you think's going to happen then? What do you think's going to happen then? What, you think your Naruto's going to save you then? What, you think your Bleach and your One Piece is going to save you then? What, you think when these blue pills and these gumps, right? You think when their babies are crying at home hungry, what, you think that it's going to save you then? You think you could just hit them with a Rasengan or some shit? Yeah, right. What gear do you have? What, you think you're going to switch on, activate your gears and start taking out multiple men? No, you better get in shape, you better get ready, you better get your mind right. Because I already made the video saying that why I don't trust guys with kids, because I hear how they talk, I listen to them, I observe and I understand and I take notes on them. You always hear them saying, oh, if my kids didn't eat, or if anyone hurts my kids, or I'll take them out, I'll do this and that. And hey, they should feel like that. That's that protective nature. They should feel like that. But that lets me know I'm keeping my eye on you. Especially as a single man, especially as a single sovereign entity, as a quote unquote free man. You and I need to be very aware, brothers, of these men, because they can all pretend to get along. They can all pretend to be friends. But trust me, that covenant will end immediately, right? If two fathers are in a supermarket, in a hypothetical, let's say hypothetical zombie apocalypse scenario, there's the last bag of meat, right, that will feed the whole family for a week, and then there's two guys, family A, family B, and the father of family A, he's there, he's like, oh yeah, I've got this bag of meat, it's the last one. And then father B of family B sees him and says, yeah, they're friends, yeah, we know each other, but we both got kids to feed, they're gonna rip each other apart is what I'm saying. Sorry for not articulating myself better, but the point I'm trying to make is they will rip each other apart. They will. Someone's gonna end up in the gulag. Hell, they might both end up in the gulag. Who knows? But that's why I don't trust them. Because they are so dependent and relying on the system that it doesn't even make sense. Like, how can you rely on a system that doesn't love you or care about you? They only want to keep you healthy enough so that you could perform your mundane task. They want to keep you healthy enough so that you could reproduce and give them more stock and more, and more slaves to feed the beast. You're no better than cattle. Like, that's like cows reproducing so that they can turn the children into minced beef for your burgers. Like, these people are so stupid, and then when you try to bring up concepts to them which are, quite novel, you might tell them some things which they don't like, don't get married, or why, if you buy a house, you might give them some game. If you buy a house that, it's the market's manipulated, and, we as humans and we as men specifically, we need to find ways where we can survive off the system with discretion, because it isn't going anywhere. Right? Not in our lifetimes anyway. The revolution is not coming in our lifetime. I'm letting you know that for sure, because the blue pills and the people who are ignorant, they outnumber us greatly. So it ain't happening anytime soon. But when you start suggesting novel ideas to these normies, man, they want to damn near bite your head off. They want to damn near ostracize you. They want to turn you into a social pariah. For what? For just suggesting something different. For just telling the truth. For just giving your opinion, if you want to call it that. And they want to bite your head off because they believe in the system. Why do they believe in the system? I don't even care if it's genuine or not. I don't care if it's genuine. They believe in the system because they need it. They need it. They're already in the hole. And that's why I don't respect them. That's where I lose respect, because misery loves company. So they try to shame you and play the Uno reverse card, right? And try to put you under a genjutsu, bro, and say, you're the ones that's weird. Why haven't you got children? You're 25. Why haven't you got children? Oh, you're in your mid-20s. Why don't you have a girlfriend? They're the ones trying to get you to jump into the hole too, because they know that, when shit hits the fan, right, we're all fucked. So they're like, come on, just join us, follow us, come with us. Like Plato's allegory of the cave. We're the ones that's the trailblazers. We're the ones that's ahead of the curve. When you start to tell them that your wife doesn't really love you and she's just using you because you're helping her get through life easier, right? They want to bite your head off. Why? Why do they want to ignore that? They probably know it's true deep down in their heart. They know that they don't wear the trousers. They know that they don't get no respect in their home. But when they hear it from you, that reality, that confrontation, it turns them into animals. It makes them aggressive towards you. When you told them that, listen, your wife, go and observe her for a week. Don't let her know you're doing it. Observe her for a week. What does she really bring to the table? What does she really offer to your world? You have to lie to yourself and say that, these things, these emotions, these feelings, what she does to my pee-pee, these are all the things which I value her for. You have to lie to yourself. If you left her to her own devices, she will gossip and talk bad about you and the family behind your back. She will spend her time shopping, right, and buying things off Amazon and sleeping and eating. Because that's what they usually do. That is their status quo. No hobbies, nothing profound comes out of their minds or on an intellectual level, right? Sleeping, buying Amazon products and eating. You're the one going out in the world trying to figure out new ways and new schemes, trying to make money like Dick Dastardly just so you can feed these other people. This woman and this offspring. Yeah, let me go and find out how to make money, lie, cheat and steal and kiss ass all day just so you can make money to feed them, and they don't even appreciate you at the end of the day. They probably love the bloody dog more than you, if we're being real. But yet they call us weirdos. They call us the odd jobs, the odd fellows. Why? For just pointing out these obvious truths. And I'm sick of it, man. I really am.